Hello and welcome to the Clever Fox YouTube channel. My name is Ilysse and today we are talking all about cash envelopes. If you've been thinking about starting a cash envelope system but you're not quite sure how to get started, this video is for you. I am going to be showing you how I'm using our Clever Fox cash envelopes to create a system that will help me manage my money and stay on top of my budget. Make sure that you watch this whole video so you don't miss any of the budgeting tips and tricks that we are sharing today. And also make sure you are subscribed to our channel and you have that notification bell turned on so that you don't miss any future videos. Let's get started. These are our cash envelopes. So they come in this really nice zippered pouch, which I think is great because it's really easy to keep everything together. And then let's take a look at what's inside. So you have your little warranty card. Then we have a category tracker and it explains how to use this. We also have all of these envelopes. Look, there's so many, and on the back of each envelope, you're able to put your category and your budget, which we're going to do today, and then also budget balance sheets. And these are going to fit perfectly in here. So a lot of things out, but a cash envelope system is really great when you're trying to stay on budget with specific categories. I only use this in areas that I spend in person. If there's a category in my life that I tend to do the most spending online, it's not something that I'm going to use cash for because it's a little bit too complicated to pull out the cash and then spend it online and then put it back in the bank. And I think that if you are just starting out, really the best way to do this is look at your budget and the categories that you spend, like I said, in person. So the first category that we're going to do here is cleaning. So on the envelope here, I'm going to write cleaning. And because we are starting this in September, my budget is $25. And then we are also going to write $25 here for my opening balance. So now I'll take out one of these budget sheets and then I'll take out $25 and then we're just going to pop it right in the envelope. Then when you have this out and about with you, if you're going to be spending money on cleaning supplies, you can take out this balance sheet and update it for your transaction. And then at the end of the month, you can note where your money was spent. And then this just kind of tucks in. But also want to write the category here. I didn't realize that that was on the front, and this label as well. And you can just use any pen to write on these. So now we have our first envelope set, and the next one is going to be for groceries. Now, I don't recommend bringing these envelopes with you every time you leave the house. The idea for me when using cash envelopes is that I only pull what I need. So if I am going to the grocery store, I will only take the grocery envelope. I may take, I may take a gas envelope if I think I need gas, or I may also take an envelope for Costco if I think that that's something that I may be doing when I'm going grocery shopping, because sometimes we'll just do it all in one. But $125. Definitely for safety purposes, I wouldn't recommend bringing out every envelope every time that you go out. Now, most of my spending for clothing is online, but in the past, when I was using cash envelopes and I was doing pretty much all of my spending with cash envelopes, if I was going to the mall, I may grab, what's next is dining out. I may have grabbed my clothing envelope and I may have grabbed my dining out envelope if I thought I was going to get a good treat at the mall. Just anything that you can see yourself spending money on when you're out at that one trip. We are starting with a budget of $250 for dining out, and we'll write $250 here as well for opening balance. Then let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the increments, 50, that you choose may be different. I like this because I feel like I don't always want to take big bills with me. And so sometimes just having 20s and a 50 is helpful, but it also kind of depends on when you go to your bank. I tend to go to my bank off hours, which also results in only being able to use the ATM. And the ATM has different increments than available if I were actually going into the teller. So there's a lot of little things to consider, but none of them are preventable from being able to do this. because I know a lot of people will say, well, I don't have time to go to the bank. Now, I don't know that every bank has an ATM. I believe that they would, but just kind of finding ways to make it work for you and your schedule. So now we are doing Costco, and Costco we are doing 120. So let's just take 100 and a 20 because it's very unlikely that I'm going to spend less than $100 at Costco. And we'll put this in here. Okay, so now we've got Costco. Next up is medicine. And this is if I need to buy any medicine, and it's usually like an over-the-counter. So I only gave myself a $20 budget here. Now the idea, of course, is that if you don't spend the money, you can keep the money in here and then budget a little bit less the next month, or you can take the money out and put it towards a savings goal. I feel like what's really important to share here is that I don't believe that there are rules when it comes to your cash envelopes or the way that you budget. If you'd prefer to keep the money in and not move it month to month, that's definitely a really good way to do it. But if you're like, oh, I didn't spend any money in that category, I'm gonna put that to savings, or I'm going to put it towards debt or any other area, you're allowed to do that because it's your budget. That's the most important thing to remember, is that it's your budget. The next category we're going to do is hair and cosmetics. This is if I need to buy makeup or new shampoo or something like that, which I haven't done in a while. So for September, I gave myself a bigger budget. And for me, a bigger budget is $50. And I'm going for smaller increments here because it's what makes sense to me for this budget. So our opening balance is $50. Now, of course, to show you this, the date that you spend the money, you'll write it here. Description of what you purchase, the plus or minus amount, and the balance. You can put 50 here, so you could put the date. Description is, deposit to envelope, the amount is 50 and the balance is 50, but I feel like it's unnecessary. We do have two sides of this, which is really great, but if my opening balance is 50, I don't think I need to do that. I feel like I really only need to do it with transactional spending. So now we have our hair and cosmetics all set. Our next category is going to be gas. And I set a pretty low gas budget because I tend to only fill up my gas tank maybe once a month. I really don't do a lot of driving. And I've set a $40 budget for gas. So we're just gonna take the 40 out. You could also write on these budget sheets if you wanted to, what category they were for, if you're afraid that you may lose track of which is which. But as long as you keep them in the envelopes and only update one at a time, it shouldn't happen. Okay, gas. Our next category is going to be, so in my budget for September, I categorized this under, I think it was other or fun, but I called it the Mets game because we're going to a Mets game and I wanted to give myself a little bit of money. If this is an envelope that I'm going to be using for the future and not just one time, I'm actually just going to call this miscellaneous, and I am only putting $20 in because that's all I think that I need in it. So our opening balance is $20. Okay, now another one that I'm going to have to reword what I put on the envelope is I had set up a $100 budget for myself for football season. And what I mean by football season is when we go out and we watch football games and maybe get some wings or a beer or something like that. But again, if this is something that I'm going to keep all year long, I'm going to call this fun outings. Some people may just categorize this in their dining out budget, which is fine, but I see this a little bit different. And that's okay because it's the way that I'm doing my budget. So what I'm hoping you realize as I'm explaining some of these things is that there's really no specific rule. I'm sure there are many budget people out there that will say that if you are eating somewhere at a restaurant, it will count as dining out. But dining out is when we go to dinner. Fun outings is things like going out to watch a football game and maybe wanting to get something to drink while we're there. Okay, our final budget is going to be manicures, and these will carry me through the month. And this is a $140 budget. And again, that will carry me through the whole month. So we have our final set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 40. And And then we can put our balance sheet in here. And the great thing is I still have 2 envelopes left over. So there should be 12 envelopes that come in this system, but we have those extra. Because I don't want to lose track of these 2, I'm going to put it in here so that when I'm ready to use it, it's there. I tend to lose track of things that aren't together, so we're gonna do that. Then we have our full category sheet. So what we're going to do is use this and fill out the categories that we just talked about. So cleaning, groceries, dining out, Costco, medicine, hair and makeup, gas. What did I call the Mets category? Miscellaneous, fun outings, and manicure. Okay, now for this part, I'm not going to write what I budgeted. I'm actually going to wait until the end of the month and write down here what I spent, because hopefully what I budgeted versus what I spent is a very close number, but there are certain times that it's not. And when setting a budget, the best way to start is to look at your previous spending habits. So if this was the first time that I ever was budgeting or setting up cash envelopes, and I had no idea what I spent on groceries, and I set a budget of $125, and I had no idea what that was, but I actually went back and tracked and maybe spent $400 on groceries. Putting $125 here when the reality was $400 is not going to be helpful. Putting the reality of the spending here and the actual spending is what's going to be most helpful as then I go into my October spending. So if you missed the last video where I showed you my budget setup and my budget planner, definitely go back and check that out. But I think that September is a really great time to start a cash envelope system if you haven't yet used one, because we're approaching a new season towards, a few weeks into the month, it will be a new season. And a lot of the summer craziness is gone, but especially as we head into back to school and the holidays and fun fall outings and all of that kind of stuff, having a really good cash envelope system is key. So I will say this is a tiny bit glossy, so you're gonna wanna give it a moment for these to dry, but once this dries, we'll pop it right in here. I do have my other envelopes as well. And we've just got our really portable, perfect cash envelope system. You can pick up this system over at cleverfoxplanner.com. Let us know if you have any questions either about using cash envelopes or anything that you're stuck on that maybe we can help with. We always try to jump into the comments and offer support where we can. If you're not yet subscribed to our channel or you don't have that notification bell turned on, make sure that you subscribe, you turn on your notification, and give this video a thumbs up while you are there. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you soon.